Hello, I'm David from the cruise line.
And I'm Jess, and welcome to our review on the Crystal Endeavour.
So Crystal Endeavour was originally intended to join the Crystal fleet back in 2020, but like a lot of things, it was pushed back due to the pandemic. The ship did finally enter service in the summer. It spent a couple of weeks in Iceland and then it headed to the British Isles where it completed a round-trip voyage and ended up in Greenwich for an overnight port stay, which is where we were lucky enough to be invited on board.
The Crystal Endeavour is a luxury expedition ship with 200 guests and over 200 crew, giving it one of the largest guest-to-staff ratio on the expedition cruise ships. The Endeavour is a combination of Crystal's ocean and river experience on board with expedition facilities. There's an expedition team on board, experts in the field of geography, history, biology, led lecture presentations, shore excursions led by the expedition team as well. On board they've got the Zodiacs, kayaks and also a 7-person submarine and also a helicopter pad.
Okay, so in keeping with Crystal Cruises, everything on Endeavour is pretty much included. So that's your dining, your drinks, your Zodiac excursions, access to the expedition team. The only thing that isn't included in the final price is if you wanted to do a more premium excursion on, say, one of the helicopters or on the 7-seater submarine. Okay, so when we got to Greenwich, we were dropped off near the Cutty Sark and then we rounded the corner and that was the first time we saw the ship. And I've never seen an expedition ship before and it kind of caught me by surprise a little bit. I expected maybe something a little bit more rugged looking. I don't know what you thought. It wasn't, I don't think it was what I expected anyway.
I've never seen an expedition ship either, and the ship was a lot larger than what I expected and a lot prettier as well.
Yeah, I'd go along with that. I think it definitely retains everything that people seem to like about the other Crystal Cruises ships. It's like pristine white, has the crystal turquoise flashes, and actually I think it probably looked even better because Greenwich that day was absolutely horrible. So it really stood out.
Yeah. So before we could board the ship, we had to get our COVID test, which we went to a hotel for. After we all got our negative results, we went on a coach transfer over to Greenwich Port, which is where the Cutty Sark is located. We got on board the tender, and after we went through the process of security and passport checks, our first public space that we saw was the mudroom, and I was quite pleasantly surprised at the mudroom. I think my first impression was that a mudroom was going to be muddy, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think anyone had been on any expeditions that day, so maybe we didn't see it in its proper state. It was interesting though. I found it a lot darker, that first mudroom. I don't know what I was expecting. I've got nothing really to compare it to. But once you've kind of gone through the mudroom and we'd gone up the stairs and we entered the Crystal Cove. To anyone who's familiar with Crystal Cruises, Crystal Cove is kind of a feature on all of the ships. So it's kind of, I'd imagine if you are a regular Crystal cruiser, it'll be kind of a bit home from home. And to be honest, it doesn't look like the kind of lounge that belongs on an expedition ship. It is amazing. It's full of glass and crystal, and then you've got the stage area where obviously they have the evening entertainment, but also there's those 3 screens behind the stage, which obviously no one's going to put an underwater camera into the Thames, but I can imagine that if you're in the Arctic or Antarctica and they put that camera down and it beams back the images from under the water, that's going to be pretty impressive.
And the onboard photographer as well, when they take the photos, they'll put up the highlights of the day on the screen so you can actually see the highlights of the destination that you visited that day, along with the photos that they may have captured on the submarine as well. So yeah, it's kind of, I'd imagine, to me, I kind of get a feeling that it feels like a normal cruise ship when you're on there, but it's kind of punctuated by all these little kind of expedition bits, kind of putting you, so you're always aware of the kind of experience that you're having. So from Crystal Cove, we made our way up to deck 5, where we encountered the ship's casual eatery called the Bistro. It's open for mornings for breakfast, and it's open during lunch as well, and I think it also does snacks throughout the day. Yeah, so once you come back in after a day of exploring Antarctica or the Arctic, you can come and warm yourself up with a nice cup of hot chocolate, tea or coffee, and also get a snack as well.
It's got some big windows as well, so
yeah,
some pretty impressive views. From there, we kind of made our way down the ship. We went past the salon, the spa, and the fitness centre. And then it kind of opens out, and we came to probably it's not like anything I've seen on the ship before. If I said it was the pool area, it doesn't really do it justice. It's kind of a glass box pool. They call it the solarium, but I don't think I've seen anything like that on a ship before, to be honest.
No, especially on an expedition ship as well. It was beautiful. So it had a nice part at the back of the room, where there was maybe 5 or 6 lounges where you could relax around the pool. There was also an eating area as well where you could eat your breakfast, and that was around the pool as well.
I think the hot tubs at the end, which are kind of pushed up against the kind of the glass, I can only imagine what that might look like if you were, say, in Antarctica, for example, because the views would be amazing.
Absolutely. So after we were on deck 5, we went back down to deck 4, where we explored some of the restaurants and were lucky enough to have lunch in one of them. The first restaurant we came upon was called Prego, which is an Italian style restaurant. The decor was beautiful. It had amazing crystal chandeliers on the ceilings. It was beautiful, that beautiful turquoise of crystal. Had those on the seats as well. And just off of Prego, there was something called the Vintage Room, where it was a private dining experience. But sometimes if they maybe, it was quite busy in the Prego restaurant, they would open that up as well. So it had all the same decor.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It was beautiful.
I did read somewhere that they actually hold some of the rarest wines in the world.
Oh, interesting.
So there you go. So just making it a little bit extra special.
Yes. And then once you pass through Prego, you enter the main restaurant.
Yes, which is called the Waterside.
Yes.
Which is where we ate.
Yes, that's where we ate.
Yes, and it was. If you're familiar with Crystal, you'll have a fair idea of the kind of standard of cuisine on board, and this didn't disappoint at all. It was incredible. It was just fine dining, really, wasn't it? It was delicious. We had a choice of 2 menus. There was a fish menu and a meat menu. We both went for the meat menu, but people we were with had the fish and said it was incredible. It was great.
Food was incredible. It was lovely.
Yeah, it was really good, and the wine was really good as well.
Yeah, the wine was brilliant. We can't miss off the wine.
So after leaving the Waterside restaurant, we had a look around some of the other public areas on Crystal Endeavour, and I think it's fair to say, even though the ship is small, it also kind of has loads of smaller areas in it if you kind of want some quiet time. So one of those that we saw was the library.
Another one we saw, the Connoisseur Club as well. I really liked the Connoisseur Club. I thought that was beautiful. And you can smoke your cigars in there as well. And I quite like the smell of cigars. I think there's a very different smell of it. And
yeah, it's quite an exclusive space. Yeah. I would think, and I can imagine like late in the evening, it's probably quite a fun place to be. From there, we went to the Expedition Lounge.
Yeah,
which is where they have, which is where the expedition team will lead kind of daily briefings and lectures, which often on an expedition ship, before you go out for the excursions, they will kind of introduce you to the place you're exploring. They'll tell you some things to look out for. They might show you some videos, and they'll kind of tell you how the excursion will work, so that when you kind of get onto the Zodiac or you go on shore, you'll know what to expect.
Very nice open space with lots of windows either side as well, so you're sure not to miss out on anything.
Well, very big after that. From there, we went to Palm Court.
Yeah.
So Palm Court, Crystal call it the hub of the ship. We didn't spend that long in there, but from what I understand, during the day you can go there. There's bar service, and then in the evening it's kind of cocktails and catching up with fellow guests. Just your kind of classic cruise ship lounge, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So during our time on board, we also got to see a couple of the suites on Crystal Endeavour. There's actually 5 categories of accommodation on the ship. So the first one we saw was the deluxe stateroom, which is the entry level suite grade on the ship, and that's kind of doing it a disservice, because I think it was probably better than most of the other staterooms or suites I've seen on other ships, even luxury ships, to be honest. Big bed, seating area, private balcony, nice bathroom. full of kind of luxury amenities. I can't remember the actual brand, but I probably wouldn't be able to afford them. So yeah, brilliant. I would be more than happy to be on a cruise of any length in that suite, but then we saw something that was even more special. Yes,
we went to the owner suite, which is the top category out of all of them on board. So the owner suite is 2-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom. It's got a lounge and also a dining area as well. The balcony is wraparound, and when we walked in, I don't know about you, but we walked around the suite and it just kept going.
I think it was like bigger than a lot of the flats I've lived in, to be honest.
Absolutely, it was beautiful. There was the welcome package on board the owner suite as well is beautiful. Walk-in cupboard, walk-in closet, even that was.
Yeah, very good. I don't think you'd ever want to leave, but that would kind of defeat the purpose of being on an expedition ship. So. But yeah, amazing accommodation, and I can only, we've seen like the spectrum of them, so I think most people will be happy in any of them. So as you can probably tell, Jess and I were really impressed with Crystal Endeavour. Certainly a great first expedition ship experience. In terms of what's next for the ship, it's currently in Spain, where it's heading south, bound for Antarctica, where it will remain until next March. At the end of Antarctica season, it will be heading north again. It will go through Africa and the Mediterranean and head to the Arctic, which includes Iceland and Greenland, where it will stay until the autumn, where it will again start heading south, this time through Central America, and end up in Antarctica again for next winter.
If you'd like to find out more information on the Crystal Endeavour and other expedition cruise ships, please visit our website on the link above and give one of our experts a call.
And if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more exclusive cruise content, reviews and news. Thanks.